Okay, everybody, I just thought I'd give y'all an update from the last YouTube video that I made. Well, first, let me show you this right here first. Here's my belongings. And here's my blanket and my pillow, and my paperwork from workers' comp. And the rest of the suitcases are in the trunk. Now, I've tried really hard to work a full shift. When I went back to work on Saturday, this last Saturday, the 16th, believe it or not, the station that was broke, that I originally injured myself on, was actually fixed. I mean, it only took them 8 months to do it. So, I mean, I was really shocked that it was fixed. And I stayed at work Saturday night. I didn't do very well at all. I worked 9 hours on Saturday. Our rate is supposed to be 600 units per hour, and mine were 193 units per hour. Now, I know that that is not good. And until they get my workers' comp figured out, I have to do the best that I can. I took a 2-week leave of absence because my paycheck was only 2 weeks. For 2 weeks was only $200. I've been averaging about an hour to 2 hours a night. So I took the $200 that I had, and I paid $50 on my rent. And I paid, I had to get tags for my car because they're up at the end of this month in June. And I also bought a few groceries, which is really nothing to speak about. I pretty much have the same thing that I had last time. I haven't eaten those canned goods yet because that's like super emergency food. So anyway, I hired an attorney to help me with my workers' comp because they refused to pay me after almost 7 months of being on workers' comp because they said that I'm no longer injured anymore. Well, they released me from the doctor on the 18th of April. On April the 19th was when I had my MRI done. And so I did not know that I did not know that, number one, my injury was still significant on the MRI 6 months after my injury. Number two, I have spinal stenosis, and I'm reading about that, so I really don't know what that is, but I just found out about that. And there's a couple other things that are wrong with my back: bulging disc, slip disc, sciatica, and but what baffles me is the injury that I sustained at Amazon still showed up on my MRI 6 months later. So the doctors at the Care Now clinic in Lake Worth were trying to minimize my injury. And they dismissed me as a patient because they said I was no longer injured. Now, when I went back to work, I asked HR if they could switch me into a position that was a little less strenuous on me, that was not as hard on my back. Like, I'm a counter, and my job consists of going up and down the ladders all night long for 10 hours a night, sitting down on the stool, getting up off the stool, the same repetitive motion over and over and over again for 10 hours a night, 4 days a week, until Prime Week happens, which is in July. And then we go to 11-hour shifts. And I think that it's 5 days a week, but I can't remember. So anyway, they told me that in order for me to go to a different position inside Amazon, something that would be a little less strenuous on my back, like the sorting, where the flat envelopes are that just go into the different bins, and making sure they don't get stuck on the conveyor. I mean, that seems pretty simple, right? Or ICQA problem solver is where you walk around with a little iPad and a cart, and you get stuff off the Kiva floor that's fallen out of the bins, or you might have to adjust one of the robots on the Kiva floor to get it moving again, because sometimes product, if it falls out of a bin, them Kiva bots, they'll just run right over it, and they'll drag it or whatever. It'll malfunction, the Kiva robot. And they told me that in order for me to switch positions, that I would have to fill out this right here. I'm going to show y'all what they want me to fill out. Hold on 1 second, okay? See this, all this paperwork? This is all Amazon pertaining to my injury. But I'm going to show you what they wanted me to fill out. Give me 1 sec. Oh, where did that darn thing go? Any other time it'd be right here. Only because I'm wanting it. Anyway, if y'all know what a certificate of fitness is, a certificate of fitness relieves Amazon of any liability pertaining to my injury so that I can switch positions. Now, here it is. Check this out. See this? Certificate of Fitness of Work. On 11/12, we became aware of your non-work related medical conditions or restrictions that may limit your ability to safely perform your normal job duties. We would like to work with you to ensure we fully understand the situation, your ability to safely perform your normal job duties, and whether any reasonable accommodation is needed. Now, I mean, what part of that is jacked up? I was injured at Amazon, but they want me to sign a certificate of fitness which relieves them of all responsibility to my injury just so I can switch positions on something that's less strenuous on my back. So, the answer to that is nope, not gonna do it. Because you are responsible for my injuries. Amazon, you are. Your faulty equipment is why I'm injured in the first place. Granted, I did not know, nor have I ever had an MRI done in my whole 49 years of living, that I had spinal stenosis. It was only after your workers' comp doctors dismissed me as a patient on the 18th that I went to my appointment on the 19th to get my MRI done. So, then guess what happened after that? On the 23rd of April, I asked my adjuster from workers' comp if I could switch doctors because I didn't feel like I was getting the level of care that Amazon was paying these people to take care of me. I mean, they didn't even put their hands on me to find out where I was hurting at or how the pain was or anything like that. They asked me questions and then got pissy when I called them out. Then, the reason why I keep looking down is because I'm making sure that this paper doesn't have my address on it. I went to another doctor. I only saw this man one time. He was great. He examined me. He immediately took me off work for a month from April 23rd to May 26th. And then guess what? 1 week after he saw me and knew that I was injured, he got a copy of my medical records, which had a peer review group that was outsourced by my workers' comp, said that I was no longer injured anymore. 1 week. 1 week after he diagnosed me with a thoracic lumbar strain on my back and bulging disc in my lower back, he sided with Amazon and dismissed me as a patient. So, I'm really trying to hold all this together. So not only do I not have any workers' comp medical care or any type of medications to help with the pain that I'm in while I'm either off work or I'm at work, I'm having to deal with being homeless, at the same time. You know, I was perfectly fine. A 49-year-old healthy female, perfectly fine, before I started working at Amazon. I had my own place. was paying my bills. I don't have a lot of bills. I have car insurance, a phone bill, and rent. Car insurance, phone bill, rent. So you see, when an Amazon employee, number one, can't get the medical help that she so dearly deserves because I got injured on your faulty equipment. It wasn't my faulty equipment. I do everything right. I was working my shift, going on about my own business. I didn't know that the station that I was on would injure me. It only took them 8 months to fix it, by the way. I know I've said that before, but 8 months. 8 months for $1 trillion company. They pay these high-priced safety guys and the high-priced maintenance workers way more than I make, I'm sure. And guess what? 8 months. They didn't do their job. I turned you're going to flip when you see this. I keep a notebook when I'm at work because I write down everything. Because if you don't write down everything and they come to your station, they're going to be like, where were you at from 6:37 to 6:47? Well, in the bathroom. Duh. But, I mean, if a manager comes by and talks to you, you got to write that down. If HR comes by and talks to you, you got to write that down. If you go to the bathroom, you got to write that down. And we're only allowed technically, other than our lunch break and our 2 15-minute breaks, which are actually about 6 or 7 minutes long, because of, we have to walk across half of a warehouse to even get outside to get a breather away from being inside that prison camp. I reported the station, of course, on October 24th, the day that I got injured. I reported it again on January 27th when I returned to work but re-injured myself because they put me on the same station, and I re-injured myself. March 31st, April 2nd, June 4th, and June 5th. Now, I spoke to 9 different managers. I'm talking HR, safety, maintenance, and my all-time favorite, my managers. And guess what? 8 months and 9 managers later and 8 reports later, it finally got fixed. So, I'm going to try to figure out number one, what I'm going to be doing until I go back to work next Saturday. Where I'm going to be parking my car, where I'm going to be sleeping at. And something's got to give. Something's got to give. There's got to be somebody somewhere besides myself that feels the same way that I do, that's going through the same things that I'm going through. I'm at a loss for words that a company, $1 trillion company, a man that has a ballroom in his home, somebody that has 2, 3, 4 mansions. Look what I'm moving out of. See this?
My little ORV.
It's not mine. I just rented